Aloha, everyone, and welcome to another day at the Krystal Academy. Good to see you, James. Good to see you, Tim. For everyone that's going to be listening to the recording, we have a very special class for everyone. So, as we all know, the eclipse, is approaching us and next week on Monday. And this portal, this gateway offers a profound opportunity for being able to release the past, release the future, just release anything that's not in alignment with where we want to go. So it's a bridging that's opening. Just released, Rosalie and I actually both released videos on the eclipse this week, so you can check them out on our YouTube channels if you want a little bit more deep insight for that. Now, there's a lot of fear stuff out there and a lot of fear propaganda as well. And I think it's just, important that you move through this eclipse gateway in the most loving,
heart-centered way.
yeah, and peaceful way, because what all of my teams and guides and Pachamama was sharing with me was the more we can really be present as we move through this like no time space window that's opening up through the solar eclipse. It just allows like the layers of releasing to release generational, generations of ancestral trauma, all kinds of, wonderful things. But the way we do that is being non-attached to them. So, there is a choice that each one of us are making in the way we want to move through this eclipse window. And that's what's supporting, how you're walking through this portal. Because it is a portal, it is a gateway, it is um, a rare celestial event where the sun and the moon come together. And the sun and the moon can have negative properties and they can have positive properties. It really depends on where you are on your healing like journey with it, because as creators, we have to consciously choose what it is we'd like to create, because that's the power that each one of us has. So if we're consciously creating in a level of separation, duality, and polarity, then that's an experience that's going to be manifested. So it's, just being shared, because all these things are available here. We're in a polarity duality system. But we actually chose to step in to unity consciousness. And to step into unity conscious means you have to stop playing the polarity duality game. Mm. And for that, it requires a very high level of emotional intelligence. And it requires the integration of the ego and the spiritual ego. So we can see things in a different way, to not be susceptible to the societal conditioning, programming, and influences that are being broadcast everywhere, because we're here to broadcast a different signal, to make a different choice, to express, a different frequency than what's being shared out there. And as I was, meditating with Pachamama about this eclipse window, her message was clear to me. Like, it's important that we return to our origins. We understand that she said there's enough people on the planet that are sharing the messages of fear. That's not what my role is here. My role is not to spread fear. My role is to support all of our ascending family that's going through this deeper embodiment of consciousness to bring healing for generations to come, and to create the level of change and footprints on the earth that are in alignment with Mother Earth, so we are able to flow with her through this time of great change and support her. So it was a message that was loud and clear to me. You can just turn on the news, Instagram, Facebook, listen to all the information from other people. And there's a lot out there right now that is, talking about, a lot of fear. So I'm not saying that's wrong either, but I know that's not what I'm choosing to embody and experience at this time. I've gone through that deep level polarity integration, and now when I was sitting with Pachamama, she's saying that before you listen to any of that other stuff, you have to check in with her.
Mm.
Right? So all of your information should be coming from her, should be coming from her and coming from source and your higher self before you're taking things from the internet, social media, the news, and all these other places. And then you're doing your spiritual work from that. You know, the spiritual work starts with, you loving yourself, coming into the deeper resonance of who you are, who you've always been, which is this, creator consciousness. And from that consciousness, checking in with Mother Earth, building that relationship with her. She's a master teacher that's here to support all of us. She's going through these great changes. So, guess what? All of us are too, because we're here. So, we have to be in alignment with her and the great changes that are, happening on the planet. And then that way, we're not going against the rhythm and the currents. We're able to surf the energies in a graceful, harmonious way. So when we're looking to outsource our energy and information from a polarity duality space or experience, it creates a lot of confusion within our being, within ourself, within our consciousness, and within our ability to understand what our true life purpose here is at this time. So this is what's been shared with me about this upcoming eclipse window, about it being this huge ancestral gateway where we have the ability to walk through it, to release, some of the deep ancestral wounds, karma, imprints, patterns, and really choose this deeper integration of this dreamscape reality, which I call, it's the ascension. It's, where the the unconscious realms and the conscious realms come blending together. So our ability to walk between worlds begins to open more. Um, Many of us experience this in dream time, but doing this more in waking time as well. And it's, yeah, so I think if you want to learn more about that, you can check out our YouTube videos that we put out this week. And Rosalie, did you want to share anything on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that I think right now is a really beautiful time for the awakening of consciousness as well, and awakening the unconscious parts of yourself through that. And I feel that the representation or the symbology of the moon cloaking the light or cloaking the sun is a beautiful metaphor representation of how we move from our own forgetfulness, from going into the darkness and then awakening into the light. Because when we come into this incarnation, there is a period of time where we forget our divinity, we forget who we are. And so I think on a grander scale, this eclipse is really representing us coming into our divinity, into the remembrance of who we truly are, remembering our light and remembering the frequency of source that we're here to anchor and create and to hold that and to choose that in every moment. And the more that we can connect into that true source, authentic frequency within ourselves, the more that we can emanate that and vibrate that in our lives in every moment. And so I just love it because it's like this has been everyone's journey. We've all gone through moments of darkness or moments of feeling completely disconnected and also believing that we are less than love or less than divine beings. And so I think a lot of people are going to be experiencing an awakening through this eclipse where they're going to recognize who they truly are. And I think anything that's not aligned with that is going to come up. And there is going to be like a level of purging of some density to allow for more of your light to be embodied. So I see this as an opportunity for growth and transformation, and a powerful one, because, at times we can kind of get a little lost on this path, whether we're following this person or, not really honoring our truth. We can kind of take a couple turns that feel a little unaligned with our true soul resonance. So I think this eclipse is calling us back. It's bringing us back to our truth, and it's calling us back in. So if anything has kind of pulled you off center or derailed you along your journey, this is just a calling back to yourself, and anything unaligned must go. And I think there are still going to be souls and beings who choose to play within the duality of light and dark, and they will continue to experience that in their reality because that's what their soul is choosing. And it's not wrong, but it's that experience will serve the soul in some way. But I think for those of us who are ready to step out of that and hold the light, hold the frequency of divine love and the aspect of the higher self that is here to integrate, then we will support in being the lighthouses for those who are also ready to uplift and hold this higher frequency. And so, wherever everyone is on this path or this spectrum is perfect for them. But it's that reminder that, yeah, we can choose a higher frequency, we can choose a different way, and we can choose to align more authentically with our true light and our true divinity.
It's interesting because just we weren't actually planning on talking about any of this today, because we're going to be doing an Akashic healing
Mhm.
for our community to go into the Akashic records to support each one of you with bringing a level of financial alignment and
Mm.
clearing. But as we sit here, the downloads are just coming in like big time on this. So I'm just gonna speak into another point here. So as the sun and the moon come together, right? One represents water consciousness. One represents fire, golden fire. You have this like water, fire coming together, which would be like, you know, an Azothian like window, like fire, water, window. Um, but that's actually not what the focus is. The focus is what I'm hearing is it's a diamond gateway. And
Mm.
when Rosalie was speaking about, the pressure, the pressures that come up as these things are bubbling up to the surface, as many of you have probably already been experiencing over the last week or so, certain patterns and things have been coming up for healing. Whatever core wounds or deep-seated things about your around your personal power have been coming up for you, most likely.
Or your safety or finances.
Safety, yeah. So, but what it was showing me is like when the sun and the moon come together like this happens once every 45 to 50 years, right? It's a diamond consciousness gateway. It's where shadow meets light. And we're
Mm.
not saying that light is good and shadow is bad. What we're saying is we understand why they both exist, because you can't birth a baby without the baby being in the womb space and in the darkness. It needs that time to incubate. And that's how we're referring to shadow in this reference too, like
Mhm.
the voidal space where all things nurture in the feminine energy, to where it births through the masculine into the physical. Now, when you have sun and moon in this particular solar alignment, what it means is there's a diamond gateway. So it is a point where you're kind of choosing the level of consciousness you're stepping forward and into, through this window.
Mhm.
And it's not even that it is a choice, but it's more about the way you act, the way you talk, the
Mhm.
way you behave, the energy that you're putting out, and the consciousness that you're bringing to yourself, your life, to the planet, to your relationships. And that's kind of how you're going to be walking through this experience, right?
Mm.
And so the more that we're living in harmony and balance with that, so those patterns that would be more negative that are limiting that, that's probably what's been coming up for you, or
Mhm.
maybe starting to come up for you as we get closer to the eclipse. Hmm.
Yeah, it's powerful. And I'm really excited for all of us because I feel also this realignment that is occurring to support us in really living more from our soul expression and creating from that space and dissolving the mental constructs that perpetuate through the broadcasting of our cultural conditioning. We're shifting out of the conditioned and making choices from the like mental mind construct that is always in some form of duality or in some form of um, like self sabotage or resistance or conflict with itself, and moving more into the soul frequency of divine love, divine peace, unity, harmony, and then co creating with that frequency and bringing that through in our lives, through our relationships, through our um, everything that we do. And so it's really powerful because it also can be a really amazing time to just be in joy, to also create from that creator consciousness through divine love and like through anchoring your light and through prosperity and just a lot of really positive things that we're able to experience through all of that. So it's also something to really be excited about. And so it's also hard to see so much fear and density also like being shared and broadcasted from this space because, from a much higher perspective, you can see that it's actually a great time for growth, expansion, love, and unity.
Hmm. Beautiful. Um, Today's class, we're just going to do in two parts. So I'm just going to end this recording and start another one for our Akashic session.